Hi folks, it's John Nizman from lastchanceautorestore.com, and I'd like to share with you another update. This is on the build of the 1978 Volkswagen Super Beetle Convertible. It's a special edition and our client calls this car Winnie. So in the last video that you saw of the body, we had it all in primer and we were still block sanding, getting it ready to final 400 grit paper before we painted it. So now, because it's hard to show, especially on camera, because it's always gray primer. So we basically skipped to this step, which is now painted. So this is the authentic, correct Volkswagen White for 1978. So it's a factory correct, and this is our premium single stage paint. So we went ahead and we painted the body, and we have all the components painted separately. So you'll see the rear apron now obviously is all nicely painted. We've painted inside the engine bay, which is correct for Volkswagen from the factory, and then they had a covering that kind of goes over this, but we wanted to make sure that the metal did have the authentic original white paint completed on it. And then as we come down the side of the quarter panel, so this is essentially right out of the gun. So we brought it from the paint booth and we brought it over here to the reassembly part of our facility, and you can see all of the body lines are nice, and then I think the camera can probably pick it up. There's some dust on the car now. It's so dusty here in the shop, but it turned out quite nice. The body lines, whenever you look at Beetles, especially the quarter panels, they tend not to get this line correct that comes out above the rear fender. So you can notice not only the shine and the straight body, but also the body line grooves. And what's unique when you come into these edges, when you see the quarter panel where it rolls in, you can see this has all been done correctly. So you come around the quarter panel where the door is and all the fasteners are, and you can see the detail there. Everything has been painted correctly. So we have 4 coats of the single stage factory correct white premium paint. So it's not a base clear. So this has a little more shine than originally this would have had from the factory, but it's as close as we can get to the to what it looked like authentically in '78. And then as we look at the dash area, most of this area is going to be covered in with dashboard. Part of the components that you see, like along here on the passenger side, there's carpet that comes to this seam, but then you can notice this is all finished paint here, and then you also visually see the inside, and you come across this headrail. You can see how nice the bodywork is and how nice and shiny the paint is. And then same thing up above here where the convertible top meets the roof line, and then the windshield seal comes here. We've painted all those surfaces, and you can see as you follow along, and then you come down to the windshield posts where the antenna is going to be. You can see how smooth the paint is, and then as you come across the cowl, once again you've got our louvers. This is where our wiper pivot arms will come out. And then this is where our windshield washer nozzle is going to come out. So you can see the bodywork is really nice. There's no wet sanding or polishing been done to the body yet, and we'll do that later on. And then you've got our front apron section. There's some trim that comes across here. And then as we come along here, you can see how straight this, I call it the Volkswagen triangle. These front triangles are quite tricky because they're tapered in 2 or 3 different directions. So when we're block sanding and making sure that we have all of these seams correct, there's a lot of attention to detail that's made when we're sanding it. And as we come along the front, you can see we've also painted inside. This being a Super Beetle, there's a spare tire that lays flat here in the floor, and then you can see the factory correct seam sealer is still along the edges. There'll be a carpet that's going to cover this top surface area, but this is exposed where the gas tank will rest here. So we wanted to make sure that the detail is done properly along here. And then you'll notice the McPherson strut towers. There's a windshield washer jug from the factory that sets in here that comes up, and the spout is here. and then you see all of this painted. You can see how nice and shiny and detailed it is. Originally, this had a bunch of like aerosol can paint and different products sprayed on top of each other to hide previous repairs. So this is correct for this car, having the wheel wells and the inner fenders all painted correct, the factory color. You'll notice in this area we have it, it's been primed, and it has just basic overspray of the white. And what we're going to do for extra rust inhibitor is we're going to use a product, and it's a black paint that we're going to put in here, basically a two-part epoxy that's going to seal this rust-prone area on Super Beetles. So that'll be sealed with a black paint before the gas tank is reassembled and set inside that section. And then in here there's a black cover. It'll be gloss black that will cover this area, and you'll notice that we also have paint in there. And then that's the back side of where your speedometer is going to be, your speedo head, and some wiring is going to come through that section. So you can see the detail there. Previously, or originally, this car had a gas heater, and there was a big hole that was cut roughly right in that section there, and it was kind of a nasty looking hole. So we've repaired that and smoothed it over because the gas heater, it's very difficult to find parts for to rebuild the gas heater. So as we come around this front section, you can see on the lower part of the nose, the louvered section, it was heavily damaged before, and it's all been repaired and properly redone. And as we come over towards the passenger front section, you can see this is the fuel filler side, and to do it correctly, the paint does have to be inside here because we have a big black rubber spout and a couple of rubber stoppers. And then once again, you'll notice the detail of the seam coming across and all the way up around the windshield. It's nice and clean and been done to factory specifications. And then you can see once again, the camera can probably pick up with a little bit of light coming through the window. You can see how nice and straight the bodywork is, and the nice shiny, the authentic white paint. So as you come down that quarter panel, down near the bottom, and then this obviously is where the fenders get bolted on. I'll point out to the back just briefly while we're on this side. You'll notice this section in here where it has these holes that come all the way around. That's going to be where a door panel is fitted. But a lot of people make the mistake and do not paint this area and all the way across in this post section. This is all visible when the convertible top is down. There's a cover that goes over from this clip. This gets covered up and comes across, and there's a door panel here. But a lot of detail, there's a couple of locations that majority of people miss on a convertible, and that's this piece here on the top and the side, and this panel that comes straight across. The back seat cushion sets on here. It kind of clamps in, and then this is basically the edge of the back seat. But this is always exposed, this panel going across. This is also exposed, and it's always rusted quite heavily, and then carpet comes into this section here, but it stops. So we wanted to make sure that we didn't miss any sections. So inside these edges on the back side of the quarter panel, all of those grooves, we have to make sure we spend enough time prepping and sanding that, and then getting the appropriate amount of paint on there. So it turned out quite nice. So this is the body, and then we have the doors just over here. So this is our driver's door. And we have these doors on one of our great stands here, and you can see once again how nice and smooth the body work is. A lot of areas like along this seam, you can see how clean, other than the dust, you can see how nice these original body line grooves are. And then we have all of our proper holes for the trim and molding that's going to go on. Our hinges are painted. And then once we go to just kind of curl around to the inside of the doors, you can see we've done both the inner and outer doors. So I'll just kind of rotate this a little bit. And you can see once again, very similar to the rear, there's a door panel that sets in here and it comes all the way around. But all of this bottom edge and these sides and this whole top rail, your arm basically is going to be on here. So this is all detailed exactly the same as it's the outside. And if you go all the way down that rail, this front face part, which is basically going to be attached to the car with the hinges, that's even done. So it's all finished correctly. And that's probably too hard for the cameraman, but the bottom edges of the doors are just as nice as the top edges of the doors. So that's really important in terms of the detail work. It's a lot more work to do both sides of the panels, especially to this grade of quality in terms of paint and shine. But being a special edition and being a total restoration, this is the proper way to do the doors, in our opinion, on a Beetle convertible, and this one being the Super Beetle Convertible. So we have some other panels that we'll be sharing with you. So essentially, once the chassis is ready for the body to be set on, we're just putting the finishing touches on the chassis and front suspension. We'll be setting the body on the chassis, and we'll share with you a video at that point. And then we'll be installing these doors. And then once we have the body fastened to the chassis, our next step will be to install the fenders, and they turned out just as beautifully as the doors and the body did. So we have the fenders are also front and rear are painted, along with the front hood. We've done both the inside and the bottom side of the front hood, and also the engine bay. So we'll share that with you in an upcoming video. So I'm John from lastchanceautorestore.com.